Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. First off, I want to apologize for this video being so late. Not only have I been extremely busy, but I also didn't know what to make a video about. Originally, I was gonna make a video about art world mysteries, and I'm probably going to do that eventually. I just wasn't feeling it right now, mostly because some of the mysteries, or most of the mysteries, didn't feel Halloween themed. Not that this video is particularly Halloween themed, but at least I was feeling a bit more passionate about these topics. You see, once in a while, I fall into a weird internet holes where I discover a thing and then I have to look up everything about it. So I decided instead of keeping all the knowledge in my head, I would put it out into the world. That's how this and another series kind of began. This one though is about creepy things that actually exist. Like the things I'm going to talk about in this video are real, as far as I can find. And so I thought I would do a series where I would share my research on these creepy, sometimes weird things. The other series are more like myths or things that are not 100% facts. They might be hoaxes. But like, I'm also not 100% sure. I don't know, are these real? Are these not real? I'm gonna have things like crop circles and cryptozoology, for example. But let's leave that to whenever that happens. A couple of other things. I wanted to talk about future videos. I know most people who sub to me like my controversial people or about series more than most of my other content. So I do have a couple ideas related to that. I'm contemplating on about Stephanie Meyer video since it was suggested a few videos ago. And it's a topic that I know a lot about. And also, I think there's a few things about her nobody seems to ever talk about, or I rarely see people talking about them anyways. And there has been like a Twilight reawakening this year since like the new book came out and all that. So maybe, we'll see. I think I'm gonna do it, but let me know. And the other one is about Tim Burton, who I've seen more people be aware about this year, about like Tim Burton's antics. But I still get like a lot of people being shocked when I say I don't like him. And while I know Tim Burton would have been a great topic for October, I kind of wanted to leave it till after Halloween because I don't want anyone thinking I'm shaming them for dressing up as Tim Burton characters. Like, I'm not shaming anyone who does that. You're amazing and super talented, and I could never. I know they're very popular Halloween characters, but I just personally can't support that man. But yeah, I'll leave more on that for that video because that's not what you're here for. Sorry for the super long intro. I just wanted to update you all on what's been happening in my noggin and just where we're headed with ideas. And feel free to suggest any other topics. I always write them down on my list. I never ignore suggestions, is what I'm trying to say. Before I continue though, I want to leave my little disclaimer saying that all my sources are linked down below as always. If I get anything wrong or I'm missing information, feel free to correct me or add it in the comments nicely. I'm only human and I try my best. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm not gonna even attempt to pronounce the name of this, but I'll leave it here on screen along with a picture of it. Anyways, it translates to the Child Eater Fountain in Swiss German. The fountain is located at the Granary Place in Bern, Switzerland, and is one of the old city of Bern's fountains from the 16th century. Hans Gieng, probably pronounced that wrong, a Swiss Renaissance sculptor, is the creator of this fountain. Originally, it was named Plaza Fountain, but in 1666, the year of the devil makes sense, the current name started being used. A little translation to this name is Fountain of the Eater of Little Children, which is just great, you know, normal fountain stuff. It depicts an ogre devouring naked children, as ogres tend to do, I guess. Apparently, some people think the ogre might be a depiction of a Jewish person since the pointed hat he's wearing resembles a Jewish one. Which, you know, icing on the cake if that's true. There is another theory, though, that is actually supposed to be Krampus, a horned anthropomorphic half-goat, half-demon who during Christmas punishes naughty children. Which I guess makes sense, but I don't see him looking like Krampus at all. A disturbing thought I just had though, which of course I have to share with you because I need you to suffer with me, is that he kind of looks like Santa's and Krampus's love child. Just me. He also kind of reminds me of Lord Farquaad for some reason. Okay, anyways. Yet another theory is that he might be a depiction of the Greek god Kronos. If you're more into Roman mythology, Saturn eating his children. The number of children doesn't match either of the mythology's description though, so probably not. I just think that if you were going to go to the extent of portraying a god that has like this specific mythology, you would at least make it accurate with the number of children so people would understand what you're referring to. Just my thought though. Other thing is just a warning to children so they don't fall into bear pits, which is exactly what it sounds like. Apparently once upon a time there were Swiss bear pits. I don't know why. You think I don't have more theories? Well, I do. Some people thought he represented Cardinal Shiner. Sorry for mispronouncing. He led the Swiss Confederation into several defeats in northern Italy and so why is he eating new children? I don't get it. I don't get it. Now this one makes a little bit more sense, and it said he's supposed to be the older brother of Duke Berchtold, who founded Bern. This brother apparently was so angry that his younger brother overshadowed him that he collected and ate the town's children. There's no info on that on any of Bern's history books though, so who knows who even made that up. I guess it does make sense, but also I'm still confused. Is eating children a thing? Like a real thing that has happened before? Now the final theory, and what I think is probably the most likely explanation, is that it's just a character intended to frighten disobedient children. Is it fucked up? Yes. Would it surprise me? No, not at all. So yeah, I just wanted you all to see this cursed fountain because I saw it and now everyone has to see it too. Can't suffer through it alone. But honestly, I think it would be pretty cool to go and see it IRL. You know I'm into creepy art and this is definitely it. Warning, before this next one, it's not blood, but it kind of looks like blood or strawberry jelly too, I guess. So if you're sensitive to blood or strawberry jelly, beware, or just like any gooey red substance if you don't like that. Oh, maybe trypophobia too. It's not holes, but I can see how someone with trypophobia might not like this. Anyways, do you like mushrooms? Because I like mushrooms. I think they look neat. Okay, but now look at this mushroom. Creepy but also cool, right? This is a bleeding tooth fungus. Not gonna even try to pronounce the scientific name. It is, and I'm quoting from this article because I just would never be able to put this in my own words, a mycorrhiza with serrated basal spines and oozing blood-like secretions top side. It is native to the Pacific Northwest, and please tell me if you've seen this mushroom because I'm obsessed. I want to read the description the author of this article, Bunny L. Grant, gives because like it's perfect and I don't think anyone could describe this better. Picture a pale fleshed daughter with deep pores sipping thick red fluid. Then turn the thing over and the base is studded with small but nasty looking spines. Meet bleeding tooth fungus. Bleeding tooth fungus mushrooms are so called because they are a quote unquote tooth fungus, and the mushroom oozes a thick substance that looks like blood. In spite of the appearance, the fungus is not dangerous, and in fact may have a host of health benefits. Bleeding tooth fungus mushrooms are innocuous when mature. They develop into rather bland brown fungi with unremarkable characteristics. It's the young ones you have to watch for. They're also often called devil's tooth, but another more benign name for the fungus is strawberries and cream. I just love it. Like, is there a better mushroom out there? I don't think so. This is the best mushroom out there. Try to convince me otherwise though, because I would love if you do. I like mushrooms. If you want more information about them, I recommend reading the rest of the article, which is linked down below. You know what? It kind of reminds me of, have you ever had gummy candy that has like some kind of jelly juice or something inside? I don't know what those are called, but here we have some that I see around Halloween, and their gum is shaped like brains, filled with gooey filling stuff, and they are super yummy. Well, if you squeeze them, when the filling starts oozing out, it kind of looks like this. I know I paint quite a picture. Another warning here, we're about to see books made of human skin and talk about books made of human skin. So if you're sensitive to that, then I would avoid this part. Anthropodermic bibliophagy is the practice of binding books in human skin. Yeah, I can't pronounce that word. I just wanted to say, I didn't know this was a thing until recently. I've seen books like this in fiction, like in Supernatural. But hey, they're real. I guess if Ed Gein made a nipple belt, why wouldn't there be books made of skin? Now this is the topic I kinda mostly fell into a hole for. As far as I can tell, books bound in human skin have been a thing in different points through time. As of 2019 though, there have only been 18 books that are confirmed as human skin according to the Anthropodermic Book Project, which is a thing that exists in fascinated by for some reason. There were some that were rumored to be made of humans, but after some research, it was discovered that they were made from other animal leathers. A pity question mark? They might also be some out there yet to be discovered. There's a whole book written about this subject called Dark Archives, a librarian's investigation into the science and history of books bound in human skin, which honestly I kind of want to get my hands on. Now, when most people think about books made of human skin, they think of Nazis, obviously, because they were, well, pretty fucked up people, you know? I think that's an understatement. According to Rosenblum's book, though, there is no actual evidence they ever made any books like that. So yeah, if not Nazis, who did then? Because I feel like most of us will imagine, like, when it comes to books bound by skin from humans, I don't know, but I go wild. I think, like, is this witchcraft? Is this some kind of ritual thing? Is this, I don't know, there's a mosquito around my face. Is this mosquito people? I don't know. But by the way, I have a really hard time pronouncing the word leather, so just squeeze me, please. Well, for starters, human skin leather is apparently indistinguishable from the leather of other animals. Fun, because that means that you could totally have a really old book in your house bound by human skin and just not know it. You just think it's an old book made of leather, but it's not. Thankfully, I don't think I have like really old leather bound books in my house. Maybe I do. I have a really old Bible. Anyways, in order for it to be determined, they have to do some DNA testing that has only been recently made possible. Wait, back to that. Can you imagine having a human skin leather bound Bible? Because I wouldn't put it past the Catholic Church. Anyways, back to the story. So yeah, you need DNA testing that has only been like recently made possible. And that's why I mentioned before that there were a bunch of books presumed to be made of human skin, but it was just actually other animals like cows. Surprisingly to me, these books were found as recently as 19th century America. And now I'm going to tell you two stories I found very interesting, but there are like way more stories. The reason I found these stories interesting is because, as I said before, when I imagine books bound by human skin, I imagine like witchcraft or like something ritualistic, Nazis. But these stories I thought were kind of so mundane that I found them fantastic. Like, what goes through your mind in order to end up doing this, you know? And that's maybe like the mundaneness of them is what appealed me to them. Does that make sense? I don't know. So the first one is that a Philadelphia physician called John Stockton Howe made 3 whole books about reproduction in human skin. The skin belonged to 28-year-old Mary Lynch, who died in 1869 of tuberculosis and a parasitic infection. Howe removed and preserved the skin from her thighs and then made books out of them. Why? Maybe as an homage to her? I don't know. It's very bizarre. It wasn't a common thing by any means. Otherwise, we would see more books like these, or maybe it was common and we just don't know. That's a scary thought. One of my most famous of these books, you know, human skin books, is The Highwayman, Narrative of the Life of James Allen, alias George Walton. This book was bound in the author's own skin. He requested it actually. He wanted a copy of his confessions to be bound in his skin and given to John A. Fenno, someone who resisted Allen's attempt to rob him and whose bravery he admired. The other copy was for his doctor. Weird request, my dude. It was made in a tannery with the skin of his back, which if I think about it, I guess is one of the best spots to get skin for a book. Something I never thought I would actually consider. What is the best spot to take skin for a book cover? Although as someone who has a skin transplant from my thigh, I guess that's a nice spot too. I'm gonna stop thinking about this now. The book was in the Fenno family library until 1905 when it was donated. This book is actually free to read online. I'll leave the link in the description in case you're curious. The cover of the book, you know, the skin cover, has a label which reads, "This book is bound in the skin of Walton." Must have been really fun to receive that, huh? I wonder if they believed it or they just thought it was a sick joke. Because I think if someone sent me a book and was like, hey, you know, it's from this guy who tried to rob you a few months ago and it's bound in his skin, I would be like, no way. You're joking. The book is an autobiography and a confession which was actually transcribed by the warden since Walton was unable to write it himself. I wanted to add that there's this whole argument about consent. Did these people consent to have their skin made into leather for books? I think these two stories show like two sides of consent. Like, for one, I think Mary Lynch did not consent to have her skin turned into a book. On the other side, we have this guy Walton who definitely wanted his skin made into a book. So yeah, there's this whole question about consent. Did these people consent to have their skin made into a leather book? Tons of people believe that this book should be destroyed or buried since they're human remains. But obviously other people think, oh, this is so interesting and weird, we should study them. Which, like, in my honest opinion, I don't think they should necessarily be burned or buried, because I do think there's a matter of consent there. But also, like, people who say they need to be studied, like, I get it, but like, how much can you study from it, you know? What can you learn? It's just human skin turned to leather. I don't think there's like this whole area of knowledge there that is untapped. Humans know how to make leather. What's new? So I'm like I get it, but I also don't get it, you know? And I definitely think that, for example, in the case of Mary Lynch, who definitely, probably, I don't know, maybe she didn't consent, I would not want to have that book. Also, like, you know, feel like those books would totally be cursed in some way. Like, even if they're not really cursed, if I own one of those books, I would be like, that thing is gonna haunt me. At least psychologically haunt me. But that's just me. If you're interested, you can find more books bound in human skin in some of the links down below. And there's a lot of more information in them, and apparently some of them are free to view, which you just view the pages. Like, you can find pictures of the covers, which are I just want to make this clear because I feel like I didn't make this clear. The part that's human skin is like the cover, the leather bound part of books. The inside is papers. So when you find these books online, you can see like the inside, you know, the papers with writing in them. But you can also find pictures, which I'm sure I've posted along the way, of how the books look outside, and they look like regular books. Like, they don't look like how I would I think it's just because I recently watched a video on Ed Gein, and I'm just imagining like a book that is like a face, like the skin of a face. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Hope you found this somewhat interesting, or maybe learned something new, or maybe I just traumatized you, and I apologize. But I traumatize myself daily, so now we're in this together. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year, so if you like my content, please subscribe and like this video. Let me know what you thought about any of these in the comments. And I'll see you next time, hopefully sooner rather than later. But for any updates, be sure to follow me on social media, because I do post on those how I'm going with videos sometimes. Mostly my frustrations. And I'll see you. Bye.